Let's jump into a couple of things that we've seen in the qualifiers, right? You had the chance to watch BTK. You've had the chance to watch them kind of push through a lot of these matches. How do you feel about their performances so far?
BTK felt like BTK, honestly. They, as far as their dominance, as far as what they did, like that last game with Area 77, what they did to Millonario is what BTK did throughout the qualifiers to every team that they had faced. They didn't hit any real struggles. They were very quick, very decisive, and it just looked like a well-oiled machine. Now that I bring that up, now, what did I see from the Valley? I did know, and like I said, I didn't watch the match with Millenarios, but we do know that they did have to fight their way from the lower bracket. So there was a little bit of a misstep, obviously, coming from them. Does that make them weaker, or does that mean that they found that little bit of humility that is going to make them even stronger now, because they know that they're mortal, because they know that they can mess up, and they don't want to make that mistake against BTK?
Yeah, you can't afford to make a mistake here. That is for certain, and we are seeing some of the bans on the table already. The Jawhead taken off the table from the Valley. They're not even going to waste any time on that, and honestly, I respect it. I mean, it's been picked up internationally, but it's been such a great pocket pick, and the Kalia will walk, and this time picked up by the Valley.
Yeah, Kalia being that primary skin. The Jawhead has been a huge thing, especially for a player like Best Player who likes those assassin plays, who values the Jawhead very quickly for that early game damage, for being able to help him move along the jungle very quickly. Jawhead just provides so much of that snowballing that you like in the early game, where I will say BTK does sometimes tend to struggle in that early game. They like to play it safe, they like to play it slow. They know and they understand where their power spikes are, so they're not going to move that needle until they know it's a sure thing for them.
Now, you've been harping on the Valier time and time again on how you've been liking seeing it kind of rise to the occasion. Do we think the Valier is going to come out between these two teams?
It made a huge splash. Personally, when I played the Valier and when I saw it come out with some of the changes, I wasn't too big on the Valier, just because he still has some of the same weaknesses. He's still susceptible to ganks. Assassins, backline divers can still get to him and shut him down very quickly. But I was very surprised to see him in the qualifiers. But because it was such a frontline heavy, a fighter centric compositions I was seeing, Valier seemed to shine. It's been actually amazing that I haven't seen him here, but I want to say maybe some of these players understand the weaknesses of Valier a little better than I do. We do see that revamped Kimmy has come along, and you talked a little bit about how well she does with her revamp. So we're going to see if that kind of plays out here too as well.
And best player, going to go ahead and showcase his pickup right there, Hayabusa being slotted in. You know he likes to pry those assassins. We talk about him and Moba Zane being the top two junglers in North America. Zane, who kind of prefaces those fighters and those tanks, and then you have best player, who's the opposite, right? He likes to go in for those flashy assassin plays. So that's what we're going to see today from him, paired up against the Suyo. A little bit more of a strong frontline composition from the Valley starting this off. We have yet to see what they're going to kind of pick up as their roam position. I guess Kalia will be the roam position, so they still got to see their XP lane possibly. The Gatot can be flexed. We don't know if it's going to be roam. We don't know if it's going to be XP, and that's the thing about these two teams, right? They like to think outside of the box, three-dimensional drafting.
Yeah, the interesting thing here for me is, I've talked about this before, Gatakacha, very strong roamer, but you cannot use him as an initiator, mostly because you're going to have issues landing that avatar, the Guardian, because it's telegraphed for so long. You need to have something in front, something to CC them, some type of fight going on before he goes and gets into the mix. And they've already blown a lot of their flickers, blown a lot of their dashes, and there's a very mobile team here on the side of the Valley, so you know they're going to be able to get out of that if they see that coming down on them. A lot of picks taken off the board here too as well, especially for BTK, focusing really down onto that XP lane to try to really iron and pigeonhole NACTs.
Yeah, we got to see where this plays into, and also that Kimmy. Last time we saw a couple times we saw the Kimmy in the mid lane position, and it just really didn't hit the mark. I want to see how BTK kind of plays this off. We saw a double marksman composition last time with the Kimmy, but this time I'm wondering if they just lock that into the gold lane, pick up a more solidified mid laner. I mean, the Farza is still up for grabs on the table. They go in for the Hilda play, which is great, can be very aggressive, especially on that Suyo. But you do have this Kalia to watch out for.
Yeah, and that's going to be the interesting thing, is how are we going to shut down that Kalia, who's going to be able to get into the back line. And maybe that's what we're going to use the Avatar of the Guardian. As soon as Kalia comes in, Avatar of the Guardian comes down to kind of offset that, get a little bit of CC down onto the teammates there. Ooh, I do like the early pressure there coming out. Hilda, we don't exactly have anything. Well, I guess the Kalia plays into that, can do a good job of trying to protect the lane against something like a Hilda as well. And Eve picked up for the Valley as well as the Badang.
Oh, they're trying to get a cheese setup, right? You got the RWM and you got the fist crack over there from the Badang to get a possible barrage setup. The Selena picked up as well. This is something that we've been seeing step into the scene on the pro scene internationally, and to be able to see it here in NACT, picked up from BTK. What are your thoughts on it?
This is a very risky composition that can pay off or can burn them back. Hilda and Selena are two of the biggest heroes that can give you the hugest advantage in the early game, or if you're on your back foot, can become two of the most lumbering, like useless heroes on your team. Because if you're on your back foot, if you're playing defensively, if you're turtling up, there's not much that they can do offensively without getting taken out. So this early game, it's a huge risk. And I mean, if anybody's gonna go all in again, it's gonna be BTK. So I'm very curious to see how this plays into it.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit the Abyssal Arrows, it's some great setups, right? And the Trap's got a little bit of a buff as well from the Selena. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are jumping into one of the most anticipated matches, the coin being flipped again for another spring season. The Valley up against BTK.
I'm not gonna lie, I am vibrating in my seat right now. I am so excited for this matchup. Like I said, this is basically a rematch from last season. You can see all members chilling. They are all in their boot camp, all grouped up. They are both teams taking this so seriously, already invading the jungle for BTK onto the Valley. And a nice stun landed as Shark here heading the way. Coleworld trying to head off. Shark taking very low. It might be in a little bit of trouble here, looking for an escape as NACT finds the kill. Best player finds one onto Coleworld, trading back and forth. Best player in trouble as Nasty Wayne finds the kill onto him. Fly Chicken using that flicker to get himself back to his tower. 2-1, a slight advantage to the Valley.
Yeah, able to find 2-1. Best player finding a kill of his own, and you are going to see them kind of push on forward to lead the way in terms of kills. Right now, the Valley looking strong, right? I would say they're the kind of voted as the underdogs, at least for the caster predictions and how they performed in the qualifiers, but they're putting up a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so much to be said about a boot camp. Like, you know, both of these teams were doing nothing but in the last 2 weeks but playing, but practicing. And an evil Queller from Nasty Wayne takes down Fly Chicken in the XP lane.
Chicken will fall. 3 kills on the board for the Valley. Nasty Wayne. Talk about a nasty jungler. We asked how he would kind of step into the tier list, those shoes needing to be filled, as the top 2 junglers are now on the same team, and he's now rising to the occasion, leading the way in kills for the Valley.
This isn't unseen for BTK either, though. I've talked about this before. They do sometimes have a very slow start. This type of composition kind of remarked to me that they were going to have a little bit of a slow start as well. They were going to try to be carried by Hoon, by Fly Chicken, some of these heroes that do really well in the early game. As we hit that 6-minute to 7-minute mark, we'll start seeing how this starts adjusting. But right now, I mean, it's not looking too good for BTK. Yeah,
the Valley pressing on forward onto this turtle. Nasty Wayne able to claim it. Shark!
Oh, just narrowly able to escape with that Avatar of the Guardian, doing a great job, understands his hero, understands what the damage he can take. Oh, just misses a stun. And this is something too. Are we getting the value that we need out of this Selena pick to really make it worth it? And that's what I really need to be seeing out of Hoon for BTK's composition to be successful.
Yeah, and right now, you're looking at a turtle on their side and up by 2 kills. Off to a great start for the early game, but you can't count on a team like BTK. We know they know how to bounce back when things don't look in their favor.
Yeah, Cold World's going to have to try to get that pop-up on to best player, but gets taken out with that shadow kill. Mark Udy coming in, trying to put a little bit of suppressive fire onto it, but not going to be able to help. Chicken rotating from the bottom lane to mid.
Yeah, we'll rotate on over. A little bit of a slower start, but some spicy plays already from both sides. The Valley doing good on taking these neutral objectives, but we got to see how this transitions over to the turret plays. How does this go into wave management as you are seeing a little bit of rotations down the bot side? We talked about the Hilda and the pressure that this is going to provide. I'm expecting to see a little bit more engagement on the neutral plays, maybe see the Hilda try and soak into the backline, especially to try and catch Mark Udy off position with this E pickup.
Yeah, and you can see here from the damage, most teams are pretty even right now, whether it comes up there. Nasty Wayne kind of edging his way forward when it comes to some of the gold, doing a great job of kind of continuing on. And that's what you want to do, especially on a Suyu. Continue the farming, get to that mid game very quickly, get some of those damage items so that you're kind of crushing it through a lot of these objective fights. Hoon, a little bit of clearing with that Abyssal Arrow as well. Both teams, a lot of respect for what both of these teams can do. You see, they're not trying to make any mistakes. They're being very safe with some of their plays. They're waiting for the advantage when it comes to some of these objective fights.
Yeah, waiting for those advantages. Zia with the weakness finder for his emblem. Best player running on that war cry. Has that increased sustained damage to work on this assassin playstyle he thrives in. Thunderbelt picked up by Shark as the turtle spawns in. Chicken caught in a barrier.
Yeah, both teams have all of their ultimates ready for this engagement. They're just waiting for the opportunity. Cold World takes a little bit of damage. Shark right there to coop up. Fly Chicken comes in with some damage of his own. Feeling around here right now. Both teams playing it very safe, not wanting to be the one that makes a mistake. Shark edging out. Cold World gets caught by Hoon. Coming in with the damage. Best player finds the kill onto Cold World. That's going to be a roam down for the side of the Valley. And potentially a free turtle for the side of BTK. Oh, Fly Chicken very deep into the back line. Recouped up there by Shark to help him with that escape, allowing best player the time he needs to get this turtle. Locks onto Nat. Another stun. Nat's using his flicker to get away.
Yeah, Nat's able to escape to safety, but losing the neutral objective to the Bloodthirsty Kings. Now tied 1-1 on the Turtles. Best player up to his third kill of this game. Highest kills on the board so far. He has all the kills for the Bloodthirsty Kings right now, but he did take one death. You got to watch out for him, though. He's definitely, with the invulnerability of that Ouija Shadow kill, it's going to be a little tricky to beat him in the Rechu plays, and that's where we're going to be keeping a close eye on Nasty Wayne.
Well, and that actually might be the difference here, too. Nasty Wayne has 2 kills. One of them actually went to Nats. All of the kills on the side of BTK went over to best player. The other team, BTK, doing what they need to set up those kills for best player so he can kind of get the farm he needs, especially on a Hayabusa, who just becomes such a menace toward that late game. Cold World and Fly Chicken kind of going at it here, both checking up into these bushes. Some of those long and boring fights that you see here as both of them super tanky and a lot of regen.
Yeah, a lot of regen and a big stun.
Yeah, Fly Chicken's gonna go ahead and expend that flicker to get away. Ooh, coming in from the side, looking for a shadow kill. Best player does not find it, comes in with a quad shadows and decides against the shadow kill. Got a decent amount of CC on his way in, decided not to continue it.
Yeah, but he's baiting the utility, but he needs to be careful. You're looking at the Valley trying to sandwich around for a play. A turret will drop on the bot side in favor for the Bloodthirsty Kings, able to take that down, and now a possible 3v3 may be on the way on the top side. Like we said, both of these teams, the coin being flipped. Look at how even the matchup is so far. Even in kills and barely a goal difference. 2K ahead for the Bloodthirsty Kings so far, and now a possible play toward that mid turret. I gotta look at Zia, though. I'm looking at him on this Kimmy. I was wondering where it would play. Plays in the gold lane. Ouija Shadow kill, doing a little bit of chip damage. He has that weakness finder, right? So he's gonna be able to apply some slow, especially up against basic on this Harith. We'll see how these two fare off.
Big engagement there. Mark Udy's going to have to back off. We do have the fist crack coming in from that. Big pop-up lands onto BTK. A big drac up. Hoon's going to use that flicker. We do have the real-world manipulation is down, trying to put the damage onto Zia. Nasty Wayne, in the meantime, finds himself a turtle. Shark put some damage onto Nasty Wayne. Fly Chicken in the back line as well to help out. And unfortunately, BTK just not in the position to be able to contest that turtle.
Yeah, Zia will pick up his first kill, though, taking down Cole, but trading that for a turtle into the hands of the Valley. I would still take that trade for the Valley. Right now, the gold is almost even. It went down by 1K in difference. You are looking at the matchups between Basic and Zia right now. Zia's sitting at about 6K, Basic right behind him, not too far off the mark.
Best player goes in on the mark. Cutie Hoon able to finish the job there. Best player came in for the... Oh, he actually might be in trouble here. Nasty Wayne finds him. Shark goes in, puts the damage on. Hoon in trouble, gets taken down by Nasty Wayne.
Oh.
Zia from the sideways comes in, finds the kill onto Nasty Wayne. This might be it for Zia as Shark looking to try to help out. Zia still puts the damage on, finds the kill of his own. Mark Cutie is down. Nasty Wayne is down 5-6. A slight lead for BTK. Nat's still here with that damage. I want to say, I was talking before about some of the most annoying heroes. One of them being Zuxin, the other one being Lucas, but we're going to have to add, I want to say, Badang to that list as well. Especially when it comes to late game. The amount of CC that he can dish out and how tanky he is just so encumbering.
You are going to see the tier 1 turret on the top side fall. Zia will claim that with no contest. Right now, 2 turrets for the Bloodthirsty Kings and still holding on to all of theirs. And, you know, we were asking the question earlier with the Valley. They did great on the neutral objectives on these turtle plays, but we questioned where do they fare off when it comes to overall wave management and turret control. And right now, that's where BTK is reigning supreme.
Yeah, and they're doing such a great job of it, especially with the fact that they're holding the Valley. Kills are great, but when you're at this high level of play, if the kills are not leading you to objectives, leading you to those towers, opening up the map for you and giving you that advantage, eventually, as the game gets later and later, it's going to be becoming an issue. Now, starting on the turtle, Nat's in the front line, Basic comes in there for some damage, Fist Crack lands on the Flying Chicken, Real World Manipulation is out, Zia finds a kill onto Coweld, Nasty Wayne finds the Lord, Zia finds a Nat. They are chasing down the Valley, and this is the price you are paying for that Lord. Oh. Is it worth it? And a complete team wipe for BTK.
Crowns are not given. They're taken by force. And BTK pushing on forward with a savage.
Absolute clinic that BTK just put on there. And this is things I've seen sometimes from a lot of teams. They will focus so hard on trying to get that Lord that they don't pay attention to that they've used all of their abilities and have taken away their exit strategy here. BTK hanging on to a lot of those abilities. Of course, the Lord does go away. They're able to clean it up, and they really punish the Valley for it.
Yeah, punish indeed. Zia taking off, finding Mark Cutie.
Oh, a nice little dive there into the back line. Zia finds another kill on the Coweld. Basic is able to return the favor. 2 Shark coming in. Fly Chicken with the flicker out as Basic was coming in with that Zaman Force, dashing in to put on a ton of damage on the BTK. 6-13 right now, and BTK have the huge advantage. And this is something I've been talking about when it comes to BTK and their strategy for those mid-game power spikes.
Oh. Look at Zia on the Savage. First the Maniac, then the Savage to follow, taking out Nasty Wayne, dropping like dominoes. And this is just game number 1. Zia, he's working his way toward that MVP.
Man, and to think so long ago, Zia was playing mid, and the biggest problem he had in BTK was that they didn't want to let him marksman. And look at him now, years later, the #1, I say that without hesitation, the #1 marksman in North America.
He said with no hesitation either. And I mean, how can you debate that Savage that we seen moments ago? And not to mention on the revamped Kimmy on top of that. To be able to get that on that hero is definitely a treat to see. 13-6 on the scoreboard for the Bloodthirsty Kings, leading the way with 6 turrets on their side, yet to have a turret drop on the red side for them. A really strong defense, and this is where it seems like they're outshining the Valley, able to have more proper wave management and objective prio. And that starts to bleed over into the team fights because they're scaling in gold. They're up by 7K.
Yeah, and I talked a little bit about the hazards of having a Selena and a Hilda on your team if you're on the back foot. But on the opposite side of that, if you have the advantage, if you have map control, a Hilda and a Selena are probably two of the most dangerous heroes to play against. You can see here the vision. These dudes are so afraid to get hit by an abyssal arrow because that's basically going to be like chunking half of your health down. Best player taking his time, getting down to the Lord, now about 50%. You can see BTK pulling it out. They want this fight. Nat's up in front, Coldwell coming in, looking for an advantage. Fried Chicken takes a little bit of damage. Ooh, Kimmy all comes out. Avatar the Guardian misses wide, looking for the engagement. Coldwell is down. BTK finding the kill there. Best player doing a great job coming in with that shadow kill. And the freeze shark with the ice crown, able to find himself an escape from damage. That is a tower down for the Valley, and actually it was a tower down for BTK, unfortunately, but a man down for the Valley, and BTK with the free Lord.
Hey, I mean, they're willing to take that trade any day. Taking the Lord with the other team standing down to their inhibitors, I mean, that's definitely nothing to really debate about. I feel like Bloodthirsty Kings, they're trying to pretty much put the Valley in a checkmate position, right? With this Lord, they may have an opportunity to take down the inhibitor and go for a potential push on that base crystal, as we see a little bit of those spicy engagements between both sides. Shark with the punish, but best player, look at him wrap around right here with the quad shadow in. He notices Nats is low. He notices Basics low. Okay, we don't see it all, but at the end, that Ouija shadow kill did lead to some kills, and is definitely best player keeping his eyes on the prize.
Yeah, right now it is BTK's game to lose, an 8K gold lead for them as the Lord starting to mound its way down to these high grounds.
Yeah, Basic needs to get that rose gold. You are going to go ahead and see Nasty Wayne fall Cold World beside him.
Oh man, a big push there by BTK, finds 3 down. That's a 4th. Nas is down. That's a complete team wipe. First game gonna go to BTK in dominating fashion.
Not just a win, but a royal execution. The Bloodthirsty Kings ruling the battlefield yet again on their debut in the spring season up against the Valley.
And what a game. I want to say, and we've talked about this before and I've harped on it, that early game by BTK, it's sluggish. It's struggling. They understand where their weaknesses are, and they try to play to it. They took a couple of deaths there. We're struggling a bit, but as soon as that mid-game hit, as soon as they were able to start winning those fights, they were just a train of devastation to Basic. Or to the Valley. I was going to say, the one thing I noticed about Basic, and the problem here, no rose gold, dog.
No rose gold, dog, indeed. Honestly, no rose gold. But you are going to see BTK press on forward for game number 1. Now, the Valley, they were taking off strong in the beginning. Nasty Wayne, he was getting a lot of those retry plays. He was finding these turtles. It looked like he was doing some great contestation on the Lords. But it was the overall team's synergy that I felt was lacking when it came to overall map awareness and wave management, not to mention turret control. That's where you started to see BTK thrive and shine. They only lost 1 turret that entire game on the bottom side, and that just goes to show that even when you have these neutral objectives, you gotta play for your lanes.
The interesting thing I'm seeing here too, as we saw the damage dealt stat up there, a ton of damage dealt by the Valley. It's just that BTK used its resources more valuably to be able to kind of get those precise hits that they needed. And as we talked about before, when BTK won a fight, they transitioned that into objectives, into towers. And that is where the Valley started to struggle a bit. Those early kills are great and all, and they set a nice little bit of momentum. But if you're not using it to open up the map, and the enemy is, you're playing a game that is eventually going to start closing in around you slowly as the game progresses.
And it was interesting to be able to see Hoon on this Selena, right? I mean, we've seen the Selena starting to be picked up a little bit more often. We saw it a bit in the qualifiers. We see it a little bit more internationally. And now, treading its way in water to the NACT spring season. And we got to see if this is going to continue to be showcased as we progress through the season. I mean, I don't feel like his Selena was a top-notch performance. It's a little different from what we usually see from Hoon. We see Hoon on more of the Valentinas or the AoE mages, but to see him more on that straight-up predator like a Selena is definitely a different story.
This is actually something that I've kind of been harping on when it comes to Hoon. I feel like he is a mechanically gifted individual. He's been playing these games for so long on the same level that Zane has. He has the same amount of history, the same amount of experience when it comes to these type of games. But I felt like the meta has always held him down because of the heroes like Aurora, like Vexana, heroes that don't shine when it comes to your mechanical ability. However, something like a Selena is something that is great, especially for somebody like Hoon, who can be able to excel at some of those mechanical abilities, the strafing, landing those skill shots that he needs to. So I'm very happy with that pick for him. Like I said, I was a little nervous at the beginning because it's one of those things that needs a little bit to take off, but man, what a great game. And then, of course, you can't start this without talking about Zia.
Yeah, Zia, able to get the first Savage of the NACT spring season. I feel like this dude always pulls this off, man. This is like nostalgia. It's like we're in the Matrix right now. We've seen this glitch before, but nonetheless, Zia, here it goes. There goes that amazing Savage that led over here as they traverse toward the bottom lane, popping off with the triple, the Maniac on the basic, and the Nasty Wayne, the final piece of the puzzle to make that Savage, and just ultimately a great game for the Bloodthirsty Kings.
I like the respect from his team too. As soon as that Abyssal Arrow landed, the entire rest of BTK stopped and allowed Zia to kind of push forward, grab that Savage, and then you saw the recalls going off there. And after that, it was basically a lost cause for the Valley. They had lost so much ground, and like we said, once you start losing, especially that mid tower, it just basically opens up so much on your base.
And that's the thing about the Bloodthirsty Kings, right? Even when you have a slight advantage in the beginning, you think you have such a massive lead. But really, they're just poking the bear, right? They're just trying to figure out, when are you going to start making these mistakes? When are you going to get a little too overly aggressive? And once they figure out what that is, they just keep harping on it until they find the advantage they're looking for to even out that playing field. And once they even it out, that's when they start to steamroll. So jumping into game number 2, yeah, we got to see a couple of things change for the Valley for sure.
Well, yeah, and it comes down to those little things. The problem is it's such a difference in the early game of BTK, where because they understand, they still try these little things, and sometimes they'll get caught in the early game, and that makes you think, oh my god, these guys are slipping, we got it, we're just gonna keep on playing the same, and eventually you start making these mistakes against them, and especially when it comes to that point when they hit their power spikes, where your attention needs to be at its highest, is around that 6-minute mark, that 8-minute mark, where they're gonna start hitting those power spikes. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of teams, they start to get a little lackadaisical. They start thinking that, oh yeah, we got this in the bag, and then you get plays like we saw from Zio, where he gets himself a complete wipeout. They got the Lord, and I'm sure they were all congratulated, like, all right, we got the Lord. But I mean, what they were able to return with was crazy. You can see here the Valley, big respect paid there to Hoon as that first ban going to the Selena.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was the stuns from the Abyssal Arrows that were really creating such a threat, right? Able to kind of isolate somebody from being able to even engage on these team fights was definitely annoying for the side of the Valley, and taking that out is definitely going to help them out there. I mean, and that's kind of hard to see, right? When you have the Selena rushing in with those stuns and you're looking at everybody fighting it out, you don't really get to see where that Abyssal Arrow goes sometimes when everybody's stacked together. But I'm willing to bet that's why they kind of banned that out there. So it was more that utility aspect that I would say Hoon was providing for that match.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing for me, is that especially when it comes to those Abyssal Arrow, when it comes to that damage, as soon as that passive explodes, it spreads onto the rest of your teammates. Not only does it spread onto the rest of the teammates, but now Hoon can transform into that monstrous form. He can jump in. He can just start doing immense amounts of damage to everybody that has that passive on them. So, and that's the crazy thing. The market plays a huge role into it, and this is a good ban for the Valley here as well. So we're gonna see what Hoon goes out. I would love to see if he's got another pick that is super. I want to say mechanical. That's what I've been really harping on with Hoon, that to help him shine.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet, you know, best players like, look, man, let me get something now, all right? You had your turn. The world got to see your spicy pickup, and that's the interesting thing when you have a team of this caliber, right? They're able to play so well on so many different heroes that their comfort picks are pocket picks that you don't expect, and they pull out something like the Selena, and now it's forced to be banned out, and then you have a team like BTK who's first on this draft, so now they have a lot more prio on what they want to get because they force the Selena to be banned off the table. So we'll have to see how this kind of, you know, progresses on forward. Now the Kimmy is still available. It got a Savage. Is it worth the ban?
What I do see available is the Zuxin. And I've been harping on this the entire.
Oh no!
Yeah. So that's going to be a prio pick, and if the Valley wants to make it to a game 3, as I've been harping on, there needs to be a plan for Zuxin.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be a plan, and we have yet to really see one. Kalia is still on the table as well. I wonder if that's something the Valley wants to pick up, or if that's something they want to allow BTK to pull into the chopping block. But no, they're going to go in for the dynamic duo, the Kimmy and the Kalia pickup, to work on their side. I feel like that's a okay trade for BTK. You know, you're able to get the Zushin, you get the Gatot. You talked about it. Talked about the Gatot and how you feel it's starting to be way more of a force than people anticipate.
Yeah, and the thing here too is Zuxin has so many escapes that she can use for a lot of these engagements here. It's going to be very interesting. I do like the Kalia pick to be able to try to get to that back line, flicker in, grab Zuxin, hopefully bring her to your team to be able to shut her down. It's just that you're going to have a heck of a front line. And we already saw they had the Kalia last pick, and they were, or did they have the Kalia last pick? I think they did. And it wasn't as successful. They were still having issues when they grabbed somebody. Here, I mean, they do have the Kimmy taking that away from Zia. A good job, especially from that Savage he got from the last game. I'm not gonna lie, it's amazing to watch some of these guys, especially the marksmen here at the top of NA, play the Kimmy, because I'm not gonna lie, I was not trusting in her revamp. I tried playing it, and apparently I just don't have the mind to grasp how to play it well. But the way these guys use it, how well they're able to set up a lot of the CC and then come in with the damage is immense. And she has been a top tier marksman right now in, I want to say, not just North America, but the world scene.
Yeah, and for the Kalia question, the Valley did have Kalia on the last match, and looks like they're going to run in for that yet again. So we'll see if it has more of an impact this time around for them in game number 2. And speaking of game number 2, this is match point for the Bloodthirsty Kings. Keep in mind, like we said, a different dynamic, one we have yet to ever see, a new format for the NACT. We like to switch it up every single season, and this time the stakes are higher than ever as there's no margin for error. And the Valley, they have to find a way to disrupt. I wouldn't say the early game was the neutral objectives wasn't the issue. It was just the micro plays, right, and the wave management and holding on to their lanes is where they started falling short. The quick rotations from BTK at a moment's notice, they're just faster to the punch.
Well, I feel like when it comes to North America teams, the BTK always understand what they can give up, what is really not the most important to them, and they understand where their strength lies for a bunch of these. Ooh, the Fredrin ban out there is really interesting. So that's just the really interesting thing that I've always kind of leaned that about BTK that's really interesting. My problem only comes like when it's international stage, is when that punishment in the early game continues on, because they're facing teams that are not going to let up. They're facing teams, and that's what the Valley needs to be here. Is they need to be that team that does not let up, that only gets stronger as the game progresses and gets sharper. Here I see them, they make these tiny little mistakes that they think, okay, it's not a big deal, we have a lead, but it's a false lead, because they have kills, they have objectives, but they don't have towers. They're not opening up the map, and the BTK is doing that. So the moment the script flips, it's an immediate flip, and it turns into a snowball that they aren't able to handle.
Yeah, and definitely have to watch out for that, as it can roll up and pile up fast if you're not careful. You're going to see the Valentina picked up from the Valley, a little bit of that IMU action. I mean, you have the AOG. It's not really like the most profitable. I mean, maybe you use the Crimson Beacon for the AoE damage, possibly. We'll have to see how this progresses. You are looking at the CC picked up, though, which is going to be a lot of maneuverability across the map, especially when you have like a Tot who's going to try and drop on you with the AOG. You have a quad shadow from best player on this Hayabusa to watch out for, not to mention entire zonal control from Hoon. And let's just harp on Hoon for a minute. Like on the Jushin, he's running this because, which is not like the Selena we saw before. Now he's going more of the AoE control with a little bit of damage behind it. And speaking of damage, carry locked in for Zia.
Yeah, a nice little. I do enjoy this draft coming from BTK. Both teams, they do a good job. This is what we were kind of lacking from the last game, is that it was one team was building for all timing of the game, early, mid, and late game, and the other team was leaving up a gap where they were being taken advantage of. Here, both teams, especially BTK, they've got Hilda for the early game. They've got that mid game locked down, especially where Zuxin starts coming in, and then that super late game where Zia is going to be able to do so much damage, especially if you have the taunt, especially if they're worried about a Hilda. We'll see how it kind of matches up here for Zuxin. Like I said, it all comes down, can we protect Zuxin, or is she going to be able to get her Lantern Flare off on the entire team and basically disrupt everything that they're trying to do, especially at these objective fights.
Speaking of objectives and fighting overall, the Leomord picked up from the side of the Valley. Now, this is a little bit of a surprise. I did read in the patch notes, though, he did get a little bit of a buff, if you say so. I mean, I guess when it comes to recalling the horse to be able to jump on there and stampede through, it's quicker. You're able to get on it a lot faster than you used to be, so he's able to kind of have a little bit more maneuverability and ease of playstyle when on his steed. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays into game number 2. As ladies and gentlemen, we are jumping into our second match of the third series for today. BTK up against the Valley. BTK leading the way 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0, a last chance for the Valley to prove their worth. Oh, already Coldworld getting taken down to about half health here. Oh, a little bit of damage coming on. Coldworld might be in a little bit of trouble. Gets held back to Hoon. All the while, Mark Cutie's trying to put some damage on. Coldworld finds himself an escape early. This is for all the marbles right now. Either you're taken out, and this is the unfortunate thing about this first round. We've been talking about it. One match here for the Valley could send them out of this entire thing. One more match for BTK could push them forward.
Yeah, and it's make it or break it right now for game number 2. A big taunt, airborne displacement.
Ooh, does get the damage on the Coldworld. Is it going to be enough? Oh, Shark finds the kill there. Is going to use that Revitalize to keep him topped off. Meanwhile, best player already visiting, trying to go ahead and visit enemy jungle, looking for maybe a little bit of a steal here on Nasty Wayne.
Yeah, need to be careful. Quad Shadow, Ouija Shadow kill.
Finds the kill on to Nasty Wayne. I was a little skeptical there of the shadow kill ending and him being under tower, but he comes in, still finds the damage and an early kill on to the Valley, onto Nasty Wayne.
Yeah, able to find the kill at a moment's notice. Nats maybe next hit with a taunt.
Yeah, he's in trouble here. I got 3 members, and that. Oh, and a nice save by Coldworld. Nats finding the escape. Coldworld paying forward and dividend, earning his check tonight as a roam.
Yeah, definitely ready to pay for dinner for the entire team. Need to be careful. Cold World have to go back to safety. Best player gonna go in for the turtle, and now on to Marcuti.
Oh, almost gets caught there. And a very different game here for BTK, as they're even taking a very firm and strong early lead against the Valley.
Yeah, off to an early start. We saw the Valley in game number 1. They were the one who led a little bit in terms of the advantage. But this time around, BTK is going to claim that first neutral objective and start to control the inside of the jungle. Now we have to see these questions that we asked before the match started for the Valley. Wave management and turret control. How can they stop BTK from pushing through?
Yeah, and right now, I mean, Cold World's doing what he needs to. He's trying to get that vision. He's trying to answer back. But like I said, like you're just facing an overloading spot there. Do have a little bit of a hit there onto Shark. Goes into that Phantom Steed coming out from Nasty Wayne. Nats get picked up there. We have a little bit of a quad Shadow. Best player goes in. Shadow kills out. Tries to get on the Nats. He's not able to find the damage. Best player in trouble. They're trying to put the damage on. Big pop-up down goes best player. Mark Udy picking up that kill by from the side, able to find himself some damage. Basic comes all the way from bottom lane to the mid, looking for an angle, does not find it. 3-2 favor to the BTK.
BTK still maintaining their lead, up by 1,000 gold. Z on the bot side, rocking on this carry up against this Kimmy. Not too far ahead. Does have that swift crossbow on his side though. A little bit of that attack speed to work in his favor, but for the Bloodthirsty Kings, game number 1, they struggled a little bit in the beginning, but they were able to find their way through the turrets and then eventually translated that into the battlefield, where the gold really made the difference on their engagements, not to mention Hoon. Key factors with the plays of the Abyssal Arrows, this time running on this Jushin and doing a great job with these Lantern Flares, keeping the Valley at bay and getting some great displacement plays.
Yeah, and like I said, Hoon's doing a great job on the side there, trying to get, it disrupts the entire enemy, especially when they're trying to kind of group up here. We're seeing the rotations, Basic doing a great job coming in very early. Phantom Steed is out. They're going to go ahead, find the kill onto Hoon. Nasty Wayne there with the kill. Shark a little bit late on that revitalized, and that is unfortunate for the mid of BTK. Quad Shadow comes in from best player, putting out some damage. Fly Chicken and Shark putting out some information to his team. They're going to go on to Cold World. Zia coming in from the bottom lane, puts on some damage. The 4 members of the Valley, big pop-up lands on the Cold World. Avatar the Guardian comes down. It is stunned. Marcuti finds the kill. Fly Chicken finds Cold World. Now, Fly Chicken in a little bit of trouble is going to back himself away. Nasty Wayne finds himself the objective. 4-4 matched up by the Valley, but still, I want to say a little bit of a gold deficit for them.
Yeah, and best player not having the Luigi Shadow kill to give him a little bit of that bonus toward that retry play. Out retried by Nasty Wayne. Talk about a trigger finger. He's been doing really well on the 50-50 trades against best player. And in this case, it's really not a 50-50 because you're on a Hayabusa. He's been out retrying him so far.
Well, I want to say you've got a lot of damage that you can output as a Leomord to be able to kind of secure some of that damage onto the objectives, onto the turtles, onto the lords. And it's called 50-50 for a reason. You need the advantage, you need that CC, and that's kind of on his team to either be able to kind of stun lock down Nasty Wayne, be able to find that onto him while and help him. And by him, I mean best player gets that secure onto it. It shouldn't just be on best player to try to get a 50-50. It should be on his team to try to get that CC onto the enemy jungler. And the Valley doing a great job of trying to put that damage onto the BTK. Nice little Phantom Steed out there from Nasty Wayne. Excuse me, it's been so long since I've seen a Leomord. We'll see. Zia might actually be caught here. Fly Chicken coming in, taking some damage from him. And it looks like a Shark going to go ahead and dash his way to safety. 4 members from the Valley coming down, looking for this bottom tower. And Shark actually going to find himself an escape with that AO, the Avatar of the Guardian.
Yeah, finds the escape. Basic will go ahead and shred down the turret on the bot side. Best player will answer back with a trade of himself. Takes a tier 1 on the top. Chicken hit with a lot of crowd control.
Yeah, he's in trouble here. Actually gets a caught, but the rest, you see Hoon, and this is the problem. Hoon, all of that damage, they all had to run because Hoon was there putting that lantern flare on them. They lock on the best player, but he's able to use that quad shadow. That means he's not going to have the quad shadow for this turtle fight. Shark comes in, trying to get some information. Hoon from the back end, big pop-up lands. They're going to try to put Shark down. He is a nasty Wayne with the kill. Best player comes in, finds the retribution, and possibly the escape. Nope, it is all... Oh, he might be in trouble there. We do have the shadow kill come out. Basic finds the kill. Hoon now still trying to put out the damage. Zia from the side. Is that going to be it? A big pop-up lands. Zia now coming online as Fried Chicken takes down Cold World. A flicker by Fried Chicken. Hoon going to have to back up. Fried Chicken waiting. He's going to try to find the stun onto Nasty Wayne. Look at all that damage he does to Nasty Wayne. Thought he was going to be able to get a purple buff, but shied away by Fried Chicken.
Yeah, Chicken, a great isolation play to be able to rush in, take down Cold World, and then flicker back out to safety on this Hilda. Such a threat. He's a beefy boy in that jungle, especially when he hugs in those bushes and waits for that opportunity. And it's becoming a problem for the Valley as he edges his way to the back line. And so far, BTK in the Valley putting on a great performance today. 5-6, 1 kill lead for the Valley. But you are looking at neutral objectives going in BTK's favor as they're up by 1 turtle. Looking at the gold difference between both of the ADC so far, not really that much of a difference. You're going to see the Sky Piercer picked up by Basic, has the lethality. We'll be able to get that execute once they get very low, that passive to be able to proc on it to work in his favor. We are looking at both sides still trying to find an advantage, but I wouldn't say this is really leaning toward one side. It's a battle tug of war so far.
Yeah, it's really going to kind of come down to one of these objective fights, especially when it comes down to the Lord. Both teams are very even here. I want to say maybe BTK doing a little bit of a better job when it comes to wave management. And as I say that, we do have an ultimate. Shark might be caught using the Avatar of the Guardian. And a big pop-up back into their line. The Valley. Zia finds a kill on the Cold World. Naps in a little bit of trouble as Basic able to find Fried Chicken. Back player comes in, finds a shadow kill. Is that going to be enough? Zia finds the kill onto Basic. Now still tied, but here comes the first Lord.
Yeah, and Zia trying to go for another Savage, gets the double kill, just picked up the Demon Hunter sword as well. He's definitely getting a lot more of these pricier items, and he's going to start hitting even faster as they start to stack up, hitting these power spikes and already making his way toward the bottom side. You can tell he's like an engine ready, waiting to rev up, and there's the Golden Staff, Corrosion Sight, the Holy Core Trinity to work in his favor on this carry, which means if he does join these team fights, he's going to shred through these teams like some pulled pork.
Well, he's already been doing a good job of kind of coming into a lot of these team fights, putting on some damage. He wasn't actually able to have a huge effect, wasn't able to get those kills, but he's still been doing such a good job of doing the rotations all the way from bottom lane, even if the turtle is up at top. You can see here, shredding down some of those towers. Lord up at top, the Valley on their back foot, looking for some type of answer that they can use against BTK.
Yeah, looking for an answer, a window of opportunity. Lord marching on the top side toward that inhibitor turret in the Valley, putting on a great defense to be able to take it down. Cold World rushing in.
Yeah, Zia's going to find himself a tower. Cold World down to about 10% health. He's really not able to find... Ooh, comes in. Shadow Kill is out. He's going to find himself back with the quad shadows. Minions up at top. And just again, we do have the Phantom Steed is out. Fried Chicken with the push away. Nasty Wayne in trouble. Zia finds the kill onto Nasty Wayne.
Yeah, able to find the kill. 1 kill lead for the Bloodthirsty Kings. But again, still yet to find an answer when it comes to wave management and turret prio. Only losing 1 turret, a pure reflection, as if we're staring dead in the mirror from game number 1.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, the Valley, there's not much that you can do when your team has this type of advantage when they're playing safe. As I say that, we do get put back in there. Quad Shadows is out. Best player in trouble. Zia finds a kill onto Nats. Zia, can anybody slow him down?
Yeah, that's it, man. I told you. This man just is putting the Valley in the smoker, and it's about 8 hours in. Time to take it out and shred it with these speedy light wheels, and you're going to go ahead and see them start making their way toward the base for the Valley.
Yeah, and right now there isn't much that they can do. A Cold World goes in, he tries to get these great set. Look at Zia, look at how much damage he just put on the Cold World. Half health in like 2 seconds. Shark in a little bit of trouble. Actually, Basic putting on a lot of damage. Shark's gonna have to dash himself back to safety. The whole of the rest of BTK gonna go ahead and give them some space, while I want to say best player is clearing out their jungle. Oh.
Ooh, a little bit of a seize opportunity. Spotted out.
And they are going to be able to find Shark. He's an Avatar of the Guardian. Basic able to find the kill there, but they might have pressed too far on the side. Shadow kill comes out. Is it going to be enough? No, they use the IMU Shadow kill, or IMU Avatar of the Guardian to offset that. Fried Chicken trying to come in, but they think better of it. They do have the advantage, and they're just going to go ahead and push this so that they can try to get this Lord.
Yeah, trying to find this Lord. Not going to have any struggle there. I wonder if the Valley even goes in for the push. If they do, could be very risky here. They are going to bite the bait, though. You look at them starting to form around for a potential invasion.
Oh, and Hoon is right there to offset it. Down goes the Phantom Steed. It is not enough, and another Lord secured by best player and BTK.
Yeah, and that window of hope is slowly starting to close for the Valley right now, as BTK claiming yet another objective and only losing one turret so far in this game, even though the Valley not too far behind in kills. When it comes to the overall map awareness and objective prio, that's where BTK is starting to shine. I mean, the gold difference, just look at Zia, 10K to 9K, almost 2K advantage over Basic on the other side.
Yeah, and finding these great opportunities to kind of come in there, really knowing his distance and positioning, especially for a hero like Carry, who has to get in pretty close to be able to do that type of damage. Now shredding down the mid lane. Phantom Steed is out. Nasty Wayne coming in, trying to clear out some of these minions. Zia takes down the mid. Quad Shadow is out. They are able to find a kill onto best player. Can they turn this around? Zia finds a kill onto Nasty Wayne. NACT is down. This could be all they want for the Valley. Hoon finds a kill onto Mark Cutie. 10% looking for the clean. Hoon is by himself. They turn it around, and this might be a turnaround for the Valley. Bloodthirsty Kings thought they had the end game and were not able to close it.
Not able to close it in the Valley. The leading BTK like some spam mail. Able to push on forward with a clean wipeout and a Maniac. Trying to catch up to that Savage we've seen in game number 1. And another opportunity to possibly turn this around.
Yeah, and you can see they're unfortunate. Best player was the first to go down, got a little greedy, went way into the back line, got stunned immediately, couldn't even be able to quad shadow his way to safety. Thankfully, BTK, they still have their towers up. They have gathered such an immense lead that the Valley hasn't really been able to kind of come back from it. They're still at a deficit of 2K, but this does thoroughly take away a lot of the advantage that BTK had.
I'm starting to see these winter crowns picked up, looking for a window of opportunity. Swap that for the immortality. We know what's going on behind the scenes. You know, interesting enough, the Malefic gun picked up over there from Zia, so he is going to be able to have those extended attacks when he does rush in. Something that the Valley is definitely going to have to watch out for. 13-13, and now it's getting to the late game.
Oh, Shark might be in a little bit of trouble. Can use that winter crown. Gets picked off by Basic. And they're going to go ahead and clear out that lane. However, 8 seconds left on this Lord when BTK starting to spread up on the map just a bit.
Yeah, spreading out on the map. Chicken, Zia forced to back away. The Valley starting to group up, having some great positioning. I mean, at this point, it's really, the turrets don't even matter, right? And I think that's where the Valley is starting to shine. It's just team fight. As long as they can team fight and clear at least wave management from the minions, this is where they can overthrow BTK.
Yeah, and especially with that advantage taken away, Fried Chicken actually coming up from the top. Cold Will comes in, latches on the Hoon, looking for an answer. Misses his ultimate. Best player finds a kill onto Basic. Nasty Wayne getting picked apart as Zia finds a kill onto Cold World. That is 2 down for the Valley and another free Lord for BTK.
Yeah, another free lord indeed, and it started with Basic getting picked off over there without having an ADC, and then Cold World right behind him. A free lord for the Bloodthirsty Kings in the Valley wisely backs away.
Yeah, and that's the problem here with the Kalia pick. If you try to latch on the Hoon, he used that Purify, which means Cold World closed the distance and didn't have anything to respond with. Now, down to 20%. BTK looking for a different answer here as Zia finds a kill on the Nasty Wayne. Down to the tower and a clean sweep for BTK.
The Valley nils. The crown soaked in blood, and BTK standing alone, undisputed, unrivaled. Look at them, unforgettable. Those are the moments we live for. Another great time for the NACT spring season, and BTK will move on forward.
Oh, a little bit of a hookup in that second to last engagement on the core, but they cleaned it up very nicely. The synergy that they had during the team fights, being able to find the advantages that they need. Unfortunate for Cold World, I feel like some of these engagements that he had, they were just countered very well by BTK, and once they were countered, Zia just started laying into them.
Zia's got rose gold, dog. You see that last item? That's a statement. That's a statement from Zia right there. The last item picks up the rose gold right before closing out the game. What a series. And this is the first time, like we mentioned, to see these two teams face off so early in an elimination. In BTK looking stronger than ever.
Finally, something has upset the caster curse that we had on here earlier. Casters correct with their predictions here. But man, what a great game played by BTK. Like I said, there was that little flub second to last engagement. I feel like best player maybe got a little bit ahead of himself. Like there was no need for him to go in at the point that he did. He got CC'd down underneath the core, got taken down early, and then things started falling apart for his team, even though Zia was still trying to put on a ton of damage. Unfortunately for BTK, or not for BTK, for the Valley, they weren't able to turn it around enough. They were still, I want to say, it was still 50-50 for them, but some of these engagements, it turns, especially for Kalia, Purifies really turn her abilities against her. You go in, you get close to the enemy, you start taking a lot of damage, you're hoping that you grab somebody and drag them back to your team, but if you are not able to do that, if a Purify comes out, then you have a hero that is basically jumping into the enemy, taking a lot of damage, jumping out of the enemy, and then they're all gonna just jump down your throat to try to find that kill. And Zia was right there every time.
Yeah, Zia able to get that Savage, able to set a record in their debut series for the NACT spring season, and also take down the Valley, not to mention do it to the Valley on top of that. It's very impressive. But I would say it was overall a good series from both sides. Definitely, I would say with the Valley, I mean, it's a little newer, I would say, in terms of synergy, right? I mean, you're talking about Nasty Wayne on the team. When it comes to the other side with BTK, I would definitely say that those players specifically have played together for a longer period of time, and especially when you switch that jungler position. But I feel like Nasty Wayne, he did a pretty decent job to be able to see him step into the NACT scene.
He did a great job, and they held their own against BTK, had a great job. The unfortunate part is I could have seen both of these teams being on opposite brackets, opposite sides of the brackets. They could have easily possibly been in the grand finals. Unfortunately, the way it ended up here with the randomness and the random draws, and the fact that the Valley got dropped to the lower bracket of the qualifiers meant that they met BTK as the first match here in NACT. And unfortunate for them, a poetic ending for a great team like the Valley, but BTK was just too much.
It's always funny because you see those conspiracy theories out there that it's all a script and it's all written, but you can't write this. Nobody, I don't think any scripter in the world would have put these two teams against each other so early. So you gotta love to see all the fairness behind the NACT spring season, and credits to BTK pushing on forward. Shout out to the Valley. Both of them boot camping, which is a major step in the right direction. A lot of these teams starting to boot camp now, which is very new for us in the NA scene, and you can definitely tell it makes a difference.
Yeah, and I want to say this is the second to last fight here. Shark got taken out, and then they latched on to Zia. And things actually looked a little scary for BTK, but they kept their cool, maintained their composure, and were able to really kind of bait Nats into a hit here. You see Cold World gets taken down immediately by Zia after a failed ultimate trying to snatch up Hoon.
Yeah, trying to find those windows of opportunity. The Valley not able to get there, and overall, BTK, their wave management, their prio, the objectives, they have everything on lock. And to be able to take a team down like that, you can't afford any mistakes. And I think that's where the Valley was kind of fumbling and dropping through those cracks.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is, had it been a best of 3 when BTK and the Valley met last season, that would have gone to the Valley, because BTK had lost their first, 3 or 4 matches? So it's very interesting, very poetic, and unfortunate, but BTK moves forward.
Yeah, and speaking of moving forward, moving on to our amazing host, Liz, to talk about all the action that we witnessed today in the most anticipated match.
I mean, I did not expect a Savage coming on in day 1, but then again, I also didn't expect the Valley versus BTK and having to say goodbye to one of these teams. But amazing performance coming in from BTK. They had a rough start in the first match, I would say, but they, at the end of the day, proved that they are the better team. They are the stronger team. They made less mistakes, and I'm glad to see that Selena coming into play.
Yeah, the Selena was definitely a treat. Like we said, we see it a little bit more on the international side. I know Private Dancer had loved seeing that, especially talking about Hoon and how long he's been in the NA scene and just how mechanically gifted he is.
Yeah, like I said, he's usually held down by some picks, but that's Selena. Like I said, I was a little skeptical at first when I first saw it, because it's one of those picks just like a Hilda. If you fall onto a defensive turtling posture, your team, it's very hard for you to make use of those picks. But thankfully for a team like BTK, able to kind of find that advantage.
Yeah, and the MVP of this game, I would guess, is the one who have clutched in that Savage, but it could be, let's take a look at who the MVP is. It is indeed Zia with that match KDA of 10, 1, and 3. It seems like he has been carrying his team on his back.
Yeah, I mean, Zia definitely had a lot of great looks in both of those games, right? Staying in the back line and then deciding to engage only when necessary, but definitely making a major advantage when he did. And it really also helped, credits to BTK, just the massive goal difference helps him get to those power spikes way earlier than Basic. And then you see him be a little bit more passive. Sometimes we see Basic kind of overextend and be one of the first ones taken out in these neutral objectives, but you don't ever really see that from Zia. He kind of waits to engage until he knows he's going to secure that kill.
The great thing I've always talked about with Zia is that he is an independent marksman. Independently of his team, he is always going to do great. No matter if BTK is slugging around in the early half, if they're successful, Zia is always going to do great in his lane. So if BTK falls short in the early half or mid game, then he's going to be able to come there and pick up the pieces. However, when you've got a team like when BTK is doing great, he's gonna shine like a diamond through a lot of these, where you're seeing him get Savages with a 10-1 on a carry, and you saw those great early rotations from him. And that's something that a lot of carries and a lot of those late game marksmen lack a bit. They'll just sit in their lane, they'll try to get that gold, they'll try to push, and then they'll just sit in their lane. He was rotating all the way from bottom lane to the turtle lane. You'd have thought he was a Moskov with how fast he was getting there for a lot of these objective fights, and that just kind of shows the expertise that he has with getting all around the map and being able to utilize his picks.
Yeah, and we saw the Kimmy coming back. I like Private said how it's different when the pros play the Kimmy versus when we play the Kimmy. I did not know Kimmy can be played that way, and Zia was a mage player, so this hero kind of is a perfect mix of being a good gold laner and a great mage.
I would say today records are being set, and it's up to these teams to be able to break them. We got to see a Savage happen. We got to see a almost flawless game. It was like 22-1. in the previous series, and like we said, we still have a whole nother series to close out the day, and this is what we love to see for the NACT, right? A whole different format, single elimination. It's a little bittersweet to say farewell to these teams who have fought so hard in the qualifiers, to these teams, these pros who we've seen compete since the beginning when we started the whole entire NACT, and to see it get to this level. I mean, we saw the rosters on start.gg, right? You saw everybody out there. I want to say this is the biggest talent pool we've ever had.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing. All these teams, most of them doing a huge job in trying to pull out all the stops. Even Area 77, Valley, BTK are ones that we know that went to a boot camp, grouping up together to try to pull out all the stops because they feel, and Area 77 feel in their bones that this is going to be their NACT. They're going to have to answer, if they can make it, they're going to have to answer to Villain Era and potentially the winners of the bottom bracket as well. But like he said, we still have a whole nother series to go, and probably a series just as exciting of what we just watched from the fandom.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately today we didn't give Wheezy what he likes to see, the series to go the distance, but we did see some dominating performances coming out of crowd favorite teams, and it's a good day for the NACT, and we saw a lot of strong performances coming up, and I'm so excited to see the matches tomorrow as well for all the series. And it's just great seeing the players group together in a boot camp. It's nice to have everyone on camera, but especially when everyone is in the same room practicing together and building synergy, it really gets to see the community of North America and the community for Mobile Legends.
You know, it's funny because I didn't get to see things go the distance like I like to see, but I will say something that can make up for it. Private's been harping on it. I want to see this Valier. Somebody pick the dang Valier. I want to see it in action and just see how much of a threat it can be in this NACT. I mean, we got to see the Kalia. We've got to see the Esmeralda crawling back to the scene as well. It's definitely been a treat to be able to watch that. We haven't seen too many Fannies. Not to mention, and it hasn't really been banned anymore. We're getting away from the Fanny era. I mean, I guess they got even. They've been trying to nerf Fanny every single patch. Maybe they finally nailed it.
I still have PTSD from some fannies that I've seen out there, but there's been a few bans of it. But I mean, it's been a great night of changed expectations for a lot of these. Overskilled being 0-2'd by Villain Era, who's looking very strong, especially for a veteran team that they took on. Milanario, I mean, unfortunate for them, not able to capture that magic that they had in the qualifiers that took down so many huge teams to get them here. Area 77 coming back in true form, in that old school form that we remember from old school North America. A brand new roster, but same great taste coming out from them. And of course, what we just watched, BTK taking on the Valley, the rematch of last season, and unfortunate for the Valley, they're not able to overcome just the awe-inspiring synergy coming from that team and the menace that is Zia.
Yeah, and we are seeing a little bit too much zeros on this bracket right now. Vendetta faced up against Team Eagle coming up in the last series of the day. But before we get there, we have an interview with the team of BTK. What's up, best player?
Hello.
Hello, congratulations on that victory, guys. I'm glad to see the whole team together. I mean, how does it feel to be back with your boys?
I would say it's pretty fun. I like being here with them. These are the people that I play with since like maybe 2 years now. So it always feels good. Always feels good. Yep.
Yeah, and how do you think it feels different compared to last year for the NACT Spring?
Well, I mean, that was a pretty bad NACT, but regardless of the fact, both teams are extremely good. This team right here, I feel more comfortable with, they just know me a lot better. They know me a lot more. So that's that.
Yeah, you guys did amazing today. Now, with a lot of the revamps with the heroes, and now, what do you think about the meta right now for the Mobile Legends?
I think the meta is always, shifting in weird places. Like, I didn't really expect Kimmy to be meta. I played her a bit too. I guess I just suck. But Zia got a savage first game, so it seems pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, and with that being said, can we get Zia in the interview as well? Zia?
Yes, we can. Zia. Wait, he's like,
Zia,
he's a little bit sick, so he doesn't really want to come interview right now.
Oh, okay. But in any case, Zia carried the team in the back. We're just gonna ask if Zia's back hurts from carrying his team, but I'm sure that's a fun little joke. Now, for the other players, is Hoon in with you guys right now?
Hoon. Yes, he is. Hoon, step up.
The man laying on the couch, I assume.
Hello.
Hello, what's up, Hoon? Congratulations on that victory. Now, we want to ask, what does the hand sign mean that you did in the end? What was that? Can you do it again? What is it?
Wait, that was on the stream? No,
Yep.
that's Zuzin Lantern. You don't know?
Oh, okay.
Fishing.
Yeah, that was. You fished and you caught the fish, indeed. And now, where are you guys? Like, why did you guys consider to do a boot camp, and where are you guys?
Cause our MS is really bad. So like last time we did the same thing for the better MS.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Oklahoma.
Where are you guys
Same as
located?
last time.
Oklahoma.
Yep.
You guys must love the Oklahoma. Something special about there. Are you guys paying for the boot camp yourselves?
Yeah, we are. It's
Yeah,
okay.
and,
After we win an ACT. Wait, only that. Never mind. Never mind.
And in that, with you saying that, how confident are you about the grand finals?
Pretty confident. We're all confident. I think this was maybe one of the hardest matches. So 99%.
And I'm glad we're still going back to that. If there's one team that you think is going to be the toughest opponent coming up, who do you think it is?
Team Ego.
Team Eagle?
Yeah, their mage is spectacular.
Wow. And maybe you guys get to see them tomorrow. Now, last question for Hoon is, who convinced Zane to be a sub for your team?
He made that decision himself.
So has he been playing with you guys, or are we gonna see Zane back, or is it just mostly the five main of you guys?
No comments.
Are we keeping that disclosed within the team? Next up, can we get Shark joining us?
Dongbo!
Super Shark!
Dongbo!
Super Shark!
Dongbo!
Ni hao.
Shark, ni hao.
Hello?
Hello.
Please.
We saw you were actually... Yeah? What were you saying?
Go fit.
Go fit. Well, we actually saw you were streaming the qualifiers. Have you been doubling down on your streaming career?
I think I will trim more after the NACT. So, yeah, I will trim more after the NACT. After I win, yeah.
After you, how do you like streaming? Do you enjoy it?
No, I just trim for the diamond. I want diamond.
That's a low ball that you're aiming at. Well, with the viewers, how do we actually follow you, and how do we support you on your stream?
Just look up BTK Super Shark on YouTube, MLBB. You will see me.
Is there a schedule that you stream by, or is it just like sporadic?
It's depend. If you're lucky enough, you will see me trimming. Yeah.
All right, guys, make sure you follow BTK Super Shark to do a little shark hunting. And if you're lucky, you get to find Shark streaming. And last but not least, can we get Chicken to join us?
Master? Hello?
Master Shifu.
Say ni hao. No. Ni hao.
Ni hao. Hello, Chicken. How are you doing? How are you enjoying the season so far?
Not good. This meta is boring.
This meta is boring. What would you say is the meta right now for the XP lane?
Tanks. And CC on the side.
CC, what would you prefer to be playing?
Lapu Lapu.
Well, let's hope that Lapu Lapu comes back. How confident are you, Chicken, about your performance and your team making it to the Grand Finals and to MSC?
Pretty confident, but I don't want to jinx anything.
All right, and we don't want to keep you guys for too long. Anything else you want to say to fans? Any plans on streaming again?
Well, I think everyone streams here after NACT though.
Yeah, and make sure you guys support the whole team with streaming. And best of luck to you guys with your upcoming matches. And we hope to see the best of you guys tomorrow.
All right, thank you.